How can anyone be surprised that so many Australians today can't find a place to rent? How can there be a surprise after we last year let in another 400,000 immigrants? That's a population the size of Canberra. And how much worse will it get when we let in another 350,000 this year? Now, it seems that the Albanese government unleashed this, well, it's the greatest wave of immigrants in our history, thinking, well, all these people, all these immigrants and temporary workers and foreign students, they're going to, I don't know, sleep on the streets maybe, in their cars or something, I don't know. But it turns out, big surprise, they actually prefer a flat or a house. And now look, I mean, we have a rental crisis. Rents are soaring. Vacancies for rental properties in our big cities, where migrants overwhelmingly go, they're at record lows. So every weekend, young Australians are racing from inspection to inspection, trying to find a place to rent at a price they can afford, and they luck out. Rents last year jumped by more than 10%, and they're still rising.
It's critical. It's desperation levels, and I have met and sat and listened to Queenslanders, working Queenslanders living out of their car in a tent, and you ask yourself, how do we get to this?
And it's not just the young who are suffering, by the way. Some pensioners in Sydney are now paying half their pensions in rent and even being forced to move out after their rent went up again.
Someone at my age is very difficult to find a place affordable. 30 years of their life, and it's very difficult to just uproot and go.
But that's not the only pain that's being caused by this massive population gain, this great immigration surge. I mean, you just look at the crowding of our cities. You look at this mega urban sprawl, the packed public transport, the infilling of our suburbs with new homes that have to be now squashed into the tiniest gardens. You've just got to ask what this crazy immigration intake is doing to you. And you add to that the fact that many of these immigrants compete for jobs, and that tends to keep wages low. And I know it's also dangerous to say this, but this massive rate of immigration, I doubt there's another country in the West that's got anything approaching ours, right, per capita. It also makes our cultural disintegration worse. Makes us even more a nation of tribes, less integration. And I speak as a son of immigrants. Now, there's also this. Immigrants add to our global warming emissions. You bring them in, you think of all the electricity they then need, all the cars they'll drive, right? And what that means is this. The Albanese government's now going to have to cut our emissions even more brutally to meet its targets. And that's also going to hurt you. How does any of this make sense? Now, it seems the Albanese government has drunk the Kool-Aid, the big Australia Kool-Aid that's peddled by companies that, build houses, for instance, and sell the stuff that's in them. For them, of course, more immigrants means more dollars. And the government also figures that more immigrants also means more money for itself when it's drowning in debt. More immigrants, more taxes. But what's good for the politicians and big business may not be good for everyone else, for you. Those extra migrants might mean more money for the government, but that's not much extra for each of us when you divide this bigger pie among more people. But the excuses we're given for packing in this unbelievable number of immigrants, a Canberra every year now? Well, we're getting older, we're told. We need all these 400,000 younger immigrants to keep Australians in comfort in their retirement, They'll work and you'll goof off by the beach or something. Or we particularly need some to feed us in our nursing homes and wipe people's bottoms, because which young Australians are going to do that work? But the 400,000 immigrants we bring in now to look after us, they'll soon get old as well. And then what? We'll need to bring in even more to look after them as well. And on it goes and on it goes. It's a Ponzi scheme until we have a population of 100 million, 200 million, more. No government will actually tell you how many Australians will finally be enough. When they'll say, oh, look, all right, no more than that. They always want more. This seems a lazy and destructive policy with no end. It's a scam that already keeps young Australians out of their own homes. And if we keep going like this, Australia's not really going to feel much like home either.